Okay, now, these are the cake pans we're going to be using. They're actually very old. They were my great-grandmother's. That's why they look a little bit rustic. So we're going to put a little bit of oil in our pan. And I'm going to use the tinfoil wrapper from the butter to make sure that it's all spread out. This has two effects. Uses a little bit of residual butter that's on there, spreads it out in the oil, and it gets all the cracks and crannies. Some people add a little sprinkle of flour in. I don't find that's usually necessary. Okay, now we're going to take half of our cake batter. I'm going to put it in this side. And we're going to take the other half. And put it in this side. See, this is why it's good to have a silicone spatula. Perfect for this. And cheap. All of the cheap. Okay, now, while we were preparing this, we want to make sure that the oven was preheated to 350. Okay. Just want to flatten it out a little. Gravity is going to do that, and the fact that the dough rises is going to do the rest. So there you go. So we're going to pop these in the oven, and we're going to see what happens in about 20-30 minutes. Okay, see you then. Okay, boys and girls, what we're going to be making today is a nice yellow butter cake. For this, we are going to need a cup of butter, our vanilla, 4 eggs, baking powder, sugar, flour, and milk. Okay? To start this off, we're going to have our mixer on with the paddle attachment on, and we're going to put the butter in. Now you want to have this butter not melting, but pretty much room temperature. That makes it easier for the mixer to deal with. You can do this by hand, but I prefer the mixer. Okay, to this, we add a cup and 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. Okay, there's a cup. And that's about a 3/4 of a cup. Okay, so we put this down. I'm going to fast forward to the point where this isn't, loud. Okay, now we have the butter well combined, almost to a light and fluffy consistency. Okay, so to this, we're going to start adding in the eggs one at a time. Now that's 4 large eggs. Just put one in, make sure it's, in there. There's 2. Now you may need to scrape down the sides every once in a while. There we go. Actually turn that up just a pinch. And to this we add our vanilla. Now we're going to be adding about 2 teaspoons of vanilla. God, that smells nice. Okay, now I'm just going to scrape down the sides. I just got to grab my purple spatula there. Turn that off. Already smells delicious. There's absolutely nothing that smells as good as a combination of sugar and vanilla and butter. They're like the best things in the world. And whoever figured that out is awesome. Now we turn that up just a pinch. You want to make sure everything's sort of mixed together smoothly. Okay, now next you want to get the sugar, you want to get the flour and the milk ready, because we're going to be adding that slowly but in alternating batches. One moment. Okay, now what we're going to be doing is we're going to add a little bit of the flour. Oh, actually, I forgot to put in the baking soda. Yeah, 1 tablespoon of baking soda that has to go in first. Okay, put a tablespoon of baking soda in. Okay, and then we slowly add in our flour. You got about 1/3 of the flour in. This is 3 cups of flour. Okay, and we got some flour in there. And we add a little bit of milk to keep everything lubricated. Remember, we're going with 1.25 cups of milk. And you want to keep your mixer on low. Now, if we have to scrape things down, that's okay. We're going to add a little bit more flour. And we add a little bit more milk. That batter looks beautiful. Now we finally add in the last of the flour. Okay, we got the last of the flour in, now we add the last milk. Okay, now is the point where we add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. The salt doesn't actually make it salty. What it does actually increases the sweetness of the sugar. It has to do with the way your tongue tastes things. The salt sort of increases the efficiency of the electric, like there's like an electric thing going on. I'll look it up. You can look it up. I can look it up. Whatever. Okay, now when your batter is absolutely beautiful, we want to make sure everything is smooth, there's no more clumps. You have to scrape it down with your thingy. Now's the time to do it. Now we don't want to overmix, so this should be good. And there we go. Have you ever seen such a beautiful, smooth, silky batter? Oh, some flour. Sec. A little bit of flour fell in. It was on the thing. There we go. Anyway, from here we're going to put this in the cake pans. So let's just fast forward to that bit.